For a limited time, purchase a 30-day all-access pass for the regular price of $349 and get a second 30-day all-access pass for free. For the next 60 days, you will get all plays released across all sports from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper, including 5% best bets for under $6 per day. Have an existing all-access pass? No worries. Your 60 days won't begin until your current package expires. This offer expires Sunday at midnight. Don't pass up your chance to get 60 days of picks for the price of 30.
All right, guys, welcome in. It is another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show powered by WagerTalk.com, as we are here, man. We're in the home stretch, final 2 weeks of the NBA regular season. Bunch of games on tap here today in the association. We got 4 pulled out for you we're going to break down. They will include, we're going to have Suns and Hawks. We're going to talk the New York Knicks, Denver Broncos. We are going to talk Timberwolves taking on Memphis. And, of course, Washington, the red-hot Washington Wizards taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. And you guys are in for a treat. What a panel we got for you today. Wearing his Cleveland Cavs gear. Look at this, old school Cleveland. Look at Brian Leonard in the house here. And you noticed how the Cavs were not on the schedule there. What's going on, Teddy? Teddy Covers back in action for you, the Godfather in the middle. And, of course, Tony Mahia in the saddle once again hitting cleanup. Gentlemen, crunch time. Here we go. Final 2 weeks. For a lot of teams, it's about ping pong balls. For a whole other group of teams, it's all about can we stay the hell out of this play-in game? And we'll see what you guys think of a few of those teams here tonight. Bri, I'll come to you first, my friend. Welcome back into the saddle again. How you been? And what do you got going on today at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, over at WagerTalk right now, I've got 3 hockey plays. I've got 2 baseball plays, including a 4% afternoon play. Real strong card in sports for me today. I'm wearing my Cavaliers hat because it's a celebration day. Not only is it Cinco de Mayo, yesterday was Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. The Cleveland Cavaliers re-signed Anderson Varejao. Oh. So it's a celebration day for us Cleveland Cavaliers fans. And being that yesterday the Force was with you, we can now say, since they signed Varejao, the flop is with you.
That's it. All about ping pong balls, my friend. Well done there, Brian. Welcome back in. Teddy! Teddy, locked and loaded here today, I am sure, my friend. What do you got going on at WagerTalk and Sportsmemo.com?
So I figured, instead of talking about Anderson Varejao, I figured that Brian was talking about something that happened in 30 years last week, which is a team covering minus 12.5 in a game that went to overtime.
Oh,
the Cavs on the wrong end of that decision. Arguably the worst beat of the year in the NBA. Literally a wire-to-wire to Cleveland game with everything. They fought. And then they got to overtime and they didn't fight so much. So I had a lousy night last night. I'm not in good form in the NBA, and I'm taking things very light today. I got 1 play in MLB. It's in rain delay right now. We may post NBA before tip-off tonight, but as of now, I do not have an NBA selection up for the clients.
Just want the record to reflect there, Brian Leonard. I did not bring up anything about that game last night. I wouldn't do that. You were representing Cleveland, but so be it. Somebody else liking to nudge you a little bit there. Tony Mahia, talk to us, my man. Big day here in the Association Major League Baseball. Full card, NHL. What do you got going on at WagerTalk.com?
Well, I'll have plays up in NBA for sure, probably MLB too. But I had some technical difficulties with my computer, so have to go to Plan B with those. And also, you know how high I was on the Miami Heat last night. Jimmy Butler, maybe 20 minutes before tip-off, is out with symptoms. So you hate when that happens to you. And it's a big part of the NBA, especially down the stretch. So got to be cautious, but I'll have plays up.
Guys, bottom line here, it is a Wednesday. Opportunities galore to make it a profitable day. Just visit these guys, WagerTalk.com. Head over to their pages now. We are going to head over to the contrarian game and play of the day. It worked out for us well last night as we backed the Detroit Pistons, getting 4 points in that game against Charlotte. Turned out to be the right side. That was a winning ticket, although they didn't have to worry about actually putting a win in the column for themselves. But a cover is a cover. And tonight, we're going to look at, it appears to be, a whole lot of people love the Phoenix Suns, including just over 50% of the tickets, over 90% of the money. Everybody loves Phoenix. The only problem is Atlanta. That's where the line is moving to, which means Atlanta, somebody's got to like Atlanta, but it's not nearly enough compared to what the tickets and the money is. So, Brian, I'm going to come to you first here. It seems like everybody loves Phoenix, the public darlings, only the line is moving towards the Hawks. You agree with that line move, and do you think they've got value here in this game?
Well, I think the line moved because Phoenix had to play that overtime game yesterday. As Teddy pointed out, they had to go full bore for the entire game, and then they go into overtime, and then Cleveland decides, oh yeah, we gotta lose this game. We're supposed to lose. Yeah, so I'm not in full agreement with it. I think I still like Phoenix here, but you got to keep in mind this is their third game of a road trip, winning the first two, and then yesterday going to overtime. I like the total a little bit better here, and I'm going to use that as my best bet as we go on. But the Phoenix offense, they like to shoot a lot of short mid-range, long mid-range. Number one in accuracy in that area. And Atlanta's defense, they're in the bottom 10 in regards to defending that. Atlanta's better defending the three-pointer, and Phoenix really, even though they like to shoot a lot of corner threes, they're very accurate with them. Overall, they don't shoot as many threes as a lot of people would expect. So I understand the line move, but I'm not really interested in the side here, so I'll pass on the side.
All right. Well, listen, to Phoenix, Teddy, we know all season long they've been profitable in this spot. In fact, 19-12 against the number on the road, 10-5 against the number in the second games of back-to-backs like this. But somebody's got to like Atlanta as that line continues to move towards them. Do you like the home dog at all here?
Well, I mean, we're forgetting the other piece of the equation here. We know how good Phoenix has been. Phoenix is playing for the number one seed in the West. They have the best point spread record in the NBA. They've been a dominant team. But since taking over for Lloyd Pierce, Atlanta's a better record between these two teams. Okay? And if you want to talk about a home court advantage that is flying under the radar, and we talk about riding streaks, and we talk about paying attention to some of the stuff that the markets might not notice, the Hawks 6-0 against the spread their last 6 at home, 9-1 against the spread their last 10 at home. They've got a nice home court advantage. They've been real good with a single-day rest. I know the Suns are good on the second of back-to-backs. Well, I think 10-5 against the number in 15 previous tries. But the money's sliding. It isn't flowing, but it's sliding to Atlanta for a reason. I believe in the contrarian play this evening.
All right. It certainly seems like a good spot to get behind Atlanta here, Tony Mejia. But, man, oh, man, do you want to get in front of that train that's rolling downhill right now with Chris Paul and company?
I do not. It's a great spot for Atlanta. They should win. I just, out of respect for what Chris Paul and Devin Booker have been able to do, I will pass on this game. The Suns won the first meeting between these teams, 117-110. They dominated on the boards. That's tough to do with Clint Capella out there. So, it was a big game for Dario Saric in that game. So I think if Atlanta's going to pull off a victory, they're going to need their reserves to do what Phoenix was able to do with guys coming in off the bench. And certainly I think Atlanta's healthier than they've been in a while. So it's one of those games where the line's probably right. It'll come down to the final minute.
I will throw out a couple of numbers here for you guys because Atlanta 20-11 against the number at home this season. They've also covered the spread their last 6. Phoenix 0-6 straight up in their last 6 visits to Atlanta, so it's an interesting spot there. Bottom line is the Hawks are our contrarian side of the day here. A long taken on Phoenix should also be just a great game here tonight. All right, we're going to move on to our first featured matchup, and why not? I mean, 2 of the hottest teams here, guys, one in the East, one in the West. They will converge in Denver as the Knicks taking on the Nuggets here, and this game opened up somewhere right around that 3 mark. I am seeing 4s now in place for the Nuggets. I'm also seeing the total creep up a little bit. 216 seems to be the consensus across the board. So, Teddy, I'm going to come to you. I don't remember who was president last time the Knicks won in Denver, but I will. I'm hoping maybe you, as a history major, can tell us who that was. It's been forever. But if it were ever going to happen, man, it would happen now, wouldn't it?
In theory, sure. I mean, Denver just suffered, you could say, the one injury they couldn't suffer. And I mean, obviously, if Joker gets hurt, it's a different story. But the Nuggets cannot lose anyone else from their backcourt. And they just lost Dozier. He's not going to go. Don't know how serious that injury is, but it's an offense that played like a stick in the mud, was, I believe, the way you described it in LA the other night. And when you talk about all the losses, the trades and the injuries that have happened for Denver's backcourt now, Dozier may not be a marquee player, but he's one of those guys that the Nuggets can ill afford to lose. I consider that an impact injury. The betting markets, I'm not so convinced that that's the case. And it's a Knicks team. I mean, the gift that keeps on giving. No, they haven't won in Denver. I understand. They've won the first 2 games of this road trip, though. And all they do is continue to win games, cover point spreads. You're riding the Knicks. You keep riding them. I wouldn't step off here. We'll talk about this total when it comes to best bet time at the end of the show.
Yeah, they've won games, Tony. I mean, Denver has won, and there was a big question on what were we going to see without Murray? Well, we've seen them win. They haven't seen them cover. So, do you trust them in this spot against the red-hot New York Knicks?
I want to know if Nerlens Noel is going to play for the Knicks, because that's
yes. It's a 4-point swing right there. Go ahead. Yes.
Well, somebody's got to guard Jokic and help Julius Randle out, and Noel is very underrated defender. So from that standpoint, look, Denver's won the last 6 meetings between these teams. They beat the Knicks 114-89 at the Garden in January. So certainly you could say that they have New York's number. But Teddy brought up a great point with Dozier. He's got a really good size for a guard. He's another guy that plays well with Jokic. So not having him, that hurts their cause as well. So this could be a spot where it's New York or pass, and it would only be New York for me if Nerlens Noel plays.
I am seeing Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks listed as probable in the game there, Tony. So there you go. Looks like they are going to be ready to rock. And Brian, let me ask you, man, the market just does not want to seem to adjust for the New York Knicks, which is especially apparently 15-1 against the number in their last 16. Is there any adjusting going on here, or is this about right in your estimation, getting 4 points?
Yeah, it's amazing. A big city, a well-known team. People aren't paying attention, and that's what happens when you've been as bad as the Knicks have been for a long time. It takes people a long time to get into it. They think it's a situation where, hey, I've seen this before out of the Knicks, and they're afraid to back them. But Teddy's been on the Knicks a lot this year, and I agree. The Knicks are one of those teams that you've got to look for reasons to not back them. And I have no reason not to back them in this one. Denver, with all the injuries they've had, they've done a tremendous job. But eventually, those injuries are going to come back to haunt them. And I think when I take a look at this total in this game, it opened 214. Now we're seeing the 216. Why is that going up? I don't understand that at all. Everything that Denver does offensively and wants to do offensively, the Knicks match them defensively. So Denver's what they want to do. The Knicks are better at what Denver wants to do offensively. A lot of missing pieces in this regard. We talked about the guards being out. That obviously hurts the over in this game. I think the under here may be one of the better plays on the board.
Good stuff. And Derrick Rose, I don't know enough can be said about that move. Bringing him to New York and what he's been able to do, guys. 21-8 with him in the lineup since coming over from Detroit. So great stuff there by the New York Knicks. All right, we're going to move on to our second featured game, and I know Brian Leonard, he is jumping up and down with this. Our angle of the day associated with our next featured game, courtesy of John Ryan, our good friend over at sportsmemo.com. And here it is. Our betting angle today. Well, we want to bet on road favorites winning 50% or fewer of their games, which means they suck. The road team coming off a double-digit loss, and the host allowed 60 or more points in the first half of their last game. If that is true, well, 31-17 against the number, that is 65%, guys, over the last 5 seasons. We're looking to bet on the Memphis Grizzlies over the Minnesota Timberwolves here tonight, and that, in fact, is our second featured game, with it opening up somewhere around that 4 mark for the Timberwolves, and we are seeing right about now 3.5 in a number of spots. I'm seeing 237.5, so the number's gone up here a little bit. Tony Mejia. Talk about undervalued. Timberwolves have been playing some fantastic basketball as of late, while Memphis, the wheels have fallen off there offensively. What do you think here about the Timberwolves getting 3.5?
Oh, Minnesota's doing the opposite of tanking right now. They got D'Angelo Russell back. They're pairing him up with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, and they're really lighting up teams and playing hard, playing solid offensive basketball. But the Grizzlies have beaten them 5 consecutive times, including just last month. So that was a game where D'Angelo Russell didn't play. So having him could be a major difference. I love the total in this game. It's going to be my best bet, so I will elaborate more at the end of the show.
Listen, the Grizzlies are a good team there, Brian. And there are a lot of people they were a bet on. It's just the wheels have fallen off offensively. They should be won more games than they have at this particular point. What do you think? Do they have enough to regroup here and get the job done against Minnesota?
I'm just very happy to see Minnesota being competitive now that they've got everybody back in the lineup. This was a team I was really looking forward to seeing this year. I thought they had some potential, and they've had key players being hurt all season long. So it's great to see them back. And hats off to them for not trying to tank at this time of the season. As a fan of any of these teams, sure, you want to have a losing record to get more ping pong balls, but really, you want to see a competitive team. And I think for Minnesota fans, this is something that they've been looking forward to, although they're not going to admit that they don't want to lose these games. I think it's a much better ball game, and I prefer the Minnesota side here. I just think they're playing very well right now, and from what I'm looking at from all the numbers, they should be able to compete here. So it wouldn't surprise me if Minnesota wins this game. I prefer the Minnesota side.
Better form, Teddy. I mean, the signs point to what Minnesota has done as of late here, but Memphis, they got to turn it around here. Does it start tonight?
Well, I mean, what have the Grizz lost? 4 of their last 5.
Yep.
And again, when you're talking about there's 2 teams playing 40 games in 68 days over the back half of the season, San Antonio and Memphis, and both of those squads have had a fair few hiccups in recent weeks because they're gassed a little bit. All that being said, you look at the Grizzlies' schedule down the stretch. They got Minnesota, then Detroit, Toronto, New Orleans, 2 games against Sacramento. They have it relatively easy compared to what they've been. Not from a scheduling standpoint, they still have I think 3 more sets of back-to-backs, including, they'll be at Detroit tomorrow. So they have to, worry about minutes for Taylor Jenkins and company. So let me say, it's not a game I'm going to play. I think the Grizz are bouncing back, but everyone's talking them up Minnesota, and I'm right there with you. The T-Wolves with core group, with their core group have a winning record. They're 9-6 with Edwards and Russell and Towns on the floor this season, but they've only played together 15 times. Russell, quote, earlier in the season, the way we were losing, we weren't progressing from our losses. We're just kind of running in quicksand with it, showing up, doing the same thing. I think we're losing with the right formula. That's after the overtime loss the other night. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota gives them a game. I wouldn't be surprised if they give them a 40-minute game. But we're starting to see the betting markets paying some attention to Minnesota right now. This point spread is telling us that. Pass for me.
Be interesting to see, too. High total in that game. I think Minnesota's figured out that if you play a little defense, you might win more games. So that is going to be an awful lot of fun to watch, though. 8:10 p.m. Eastern time. That is the tip from Minnesota taking on Memphis. It's time for us to move on to the overtime game of the night, guys. And I'll give you 3 guesses who's involved here. It's always one of these teams. Got to be the Washington Wizards, right? Taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Of course it is. Look at that. 240s. Here we go. 242 is an open. I'm seeing 243s. And, yeah, pretty much 243 now consensus across the board. So I'll start with you, Brian. It seems as of these last couple of weeks, if we get a total for 240 or so, it's going over. At least it has. Is it over or not for you with such a high total at this point in the season?
It's interesting. Normally when I'm on and we get to this segment, the line has moved 4 or 5 points based on the overnight. This one's only moved 1, and I like the over. I think it's a really good spot for the over. Milwaukee playing that game yesterday against the Nets, going all out. That was a game they needed to have. Now they can relax a little bit after beating the Nets, and Washington comes in. Washington this year, in all mid-range shots, they're number 1, shooting 40% of their mid-range shots. They're 6th in 44.6%. And you take a look at Milwaukee. Milwaukee is 28th in mid-range shots, and they're allowing 43.3. So I think Washington should be able to get as many mid-range shots as they like here. I think it's going to be an effective game for them. And Milwaukee, from a defensive standpoint, they just had that big game yesterday against the Nets. I think it's one of those games where both these teams go out and try to pad their stats. I like the over here.
Yeah, we talked about that game last night, too. Milwaukee there, Teddy, in that matchup against the Nets. And the total hadn't moved a whole lot there. It was 242.5, went to 243. Usually we're seeing wild swings. It ended up staying under at 242 if you had 242.5. But it's the same situation here where not a lot of line movement on this total from these two teams. Is it over or not for you?
Yes. Hachimura has been ruled out for Washington tonight. That's an impact injury for the low post defense. Doesn't help in that regard. But I'm not a guy that's going to spend a ton of time looking at series history, especially, when you talk about teams from out of conference. They only play twice a year. It doesn't matter what the meeting was 4 years ago. But when you look at every recent meeting between these two teams, over 245 and over 236 when they met back in March. In August, over 227.5. Last February, over 243.5, over 241, and flying over 270s, 280s, 255 when they met back in March. Washington's going to push pace. Milwaukee's going to push pace. We expect the offense to be the pace and the offense to be consistent throughout. And yesterday we're like, yeah, I don't love that total over. I really don't. This one, that's the only way I would play it, is over. And it's also a different story mentally for Milwaukee tonight. I would not be surprised if they exhale a little bit after those 2 huge wins they just pulled off over Brooklyn.
Tough, Tony Mejia, to look at a team that just dropped 154 points in Indiana and considered an under. So is it over or not for you here in this matchup?
Yeah, over or nothing. And look, the Wizards are 11-2 straight up and against the spread over the last month or so. Closing in on a full month. So they're consistently playing solid basketball, and they're opening up a 5-game road trip. So you figure that they're going to be focused, and they may even catch Milwaukee coming off those 2 big wins. But the Bucks are going to. This is a pace that favors them. Drew Holiday will get right up and down with Russell Westbrook. Giannis is presumably going to play on the second night of a back-to-back, and he's been a monster since coming back from his injury. So definitely one of those games where you get to the fourth quarter and you're looking up at 180 points, and you need your 60 to get there. But at that point, if there's game extension, it should get there comfortably.
Yep. For what it's worth, guys, the Bucks this season last 11 games on no days rest, 3 overs, 8 unders, averaging 219 points. Should be a fun game one way or the other. Now, before we get to our best bets here, guys, of course, I do want to remind you the best bets right now locked and loaded at WagerTalk.com. If you head over to Brian Leonard's page there, NHL, MLB, NBA, ready to go, as is Teddy covers. Visit his page. And Tony Mejia, ready to rock and roll here on a Wednesday, guys. Great opportunity to make it a profitable evening. And as we get to our buzzer beater best bets, we'll start, of course, with the points. That's it. Mr. Derrick Rose himself wearing that Cleveland hat. Here he is, Brian Leonard, 60 seconds on the clock, my man. Do with it as you may. Just give us a best bet, man. Who are you going with tonight?
Once again, just want to talk about what I have up on the site today. 2 baseball plays, including a 4% play. We've been terrific on 4s and 5%. And we've got 3 hockey up there, and it's been one of those situations lately where I've been avoiding hockey, but I just love this card today. So we've got a 3-pack in hockey, all for one price. A nice bargain for you. I want to go back to that Phoenix-Atlanta game. I talked earlier about Phoenix playing that second of a back-to-back after playing the overtime game yesterday. Phoenix matches up very well against this Atlanta defense. Atlanta's defense defends the 3 very well. 3rd in basketball defending the 3. But the Suns don't need to shoot 3s. The Suns shoot 3s. They're very good at it. But they're able to shoot 2-point, the mid-rangers and at the rim very well. And that's something that Atlanta just doesn't defend at all. When you take a look at the Atlanta side, this is a team that is a very good team. But what they match up with, Phoenix just doesn't match up as well with them either. I like this game to go over the total, and that'll be my best bet in this contest.
All right. Very nice. Well done. Going over Atlanta and Phoenix here tonight. All right, Teddy, you got it. 60 seconds on the board, my man. Where are you going tonight?
You see the quote from Nuggets head coach Michael Malone after Dozier got hurt? Quote, I don't know if this team is cursed. We got to bring in some kind of a high priest to rid the team of any bad omens. Of course, they're already playing without Barton and Morris and Murray, which is a whole lot of backcourt to be without in any given ball game. But my focus on Knicks Nugget is not size. It's not full game total. It's riding the one streak, the gift that keeps on giving, and that's Knicks first half over. The Knicks consistently are playing loose early and tightening up late. The defensive intensity has been great after halftime. First half, not so much. Meanwhile, for Denver, there's a little bit of a sense of urgency here after they were held in the 80s in that loss at LA in their last ball game. So I'm expecting some early flow. And I'm expecting points. And 11-1 to the over the last 12 tries. Knicks, first half over.
That's just the money right there with the Knicks and that play, Teddy. Very nice, man. Been nothing but a moneymaker there. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Come on, Tony Mejia. Talk to us, my man. Plenty of opportunities on the board tonight. Where are you going?
I'm going to go with the high side in the Grizzlies and Timberwolves. I talked earlier how Memphis has owned the series. They're getting ready to sweep them for a second straight year. They've won 5 straight. But Karl Anthony Towns and Jonas Valanciunas really seem to get up for one another, and it's led to some high-scoring games. 137 to 121 in November of 2019, 119, 112, January of 2020. This season, 118, 107, 120 to 108. And I think that the markets have caught up, and that's why you see the number as high as it is. But this particular matchup, I think Valanciunas, he loves to bully over inside. Towns is wary of foul trouble, so I think they'll let him get into a rhythm. Towns wants to get Valanciunas out on the perimeter where he doesn't like to be and execute there. And we also have no Jaren Jackson Jr., which eliminates a key shot blocker. So give me the high side in Grizz and Timberwolves.
Love it. All right. A lot of opportunities there, whether it be full game or first half, guys. A lot of overs here tonight on the card. Let's take a look, though, at our good friends from the Gold Sheet and see who they like here tonight. And they are going to be looking at, give me them Knicks and them 4 points, the red-hot New York Knicks. And don't forget, guys, all our plays and our best bets from the Gold Sheet that appear on shows here at Wager Talk can be found in their entirety. That's right. You don't have to strain to read this. Just head over to Twitter and to Wager Talk's page. Make sure you're following us, and you'll have all the full write-ups there available to you from the Gold Sheet. All right. Recap time. Let's take a look one more time what we're looking at here tonight. Brian Leonard says, give me the Hawks, give me the Suns, give me the over. 228. Teddy, ain't broke, don't fix it. Knicks, Nuggets, first half over, 109.5. Tony Mejia saying, listen, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, expect a lot of scoring. 237.5 hit the over. Our friends from the Gold Sheet, they like the Knicks, and our contrarian side of the day, guys, is going to be the Hawks getting one at home right now against the Phoenix Suns. So a lot of opportunities to make it a very profitable Wednesday here, guys. It starts with partnering up with these guys. You can do so right now. Locked and loaded they are tonight with the best bets at WagerTalk.com. Just visit Brian Leonard, visit Teddy Covers, and, of course, visit Tony Mejia's page, guys. That's it, WagerTalk.com. You go there, go under the Experts tab, pull down, get to the pages, and let's make it a profitable Wednesday. So on behalf of Brian, Teddy, and Tony, guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow as we wound down the regular season here in the NBA. So best of luck with your plays, guys. Come back and join us. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.